The Galactic Medical Summit on Proxima Station was supposed to be routine. Dr. Ilara Venn had attended dozens of these conferences over her 8-year career, presenting papers on human neurological regeneration techniques that most alien species found quaint at best, primitive at worst. Humans were the newcomers to the galactic stage barely 2 generations since first contact, and their medicine was considered laughably crude compared to the advanced civilizations that had mastered quantum healing and cellular reconstruction millennia ago. But Ilara didn't care what they thought. She knew what human determination could accomplish. The incident that would change everything happened during the networking reception. Ilara stood near the refreshment stations, her dark hair pulled back in a practical bun, nursing a drink that tasted vaguely of citrus and regret. Across the crystalline hall, she noticed a Tarathi woman easily identifiable by her iridescent blue skin and the elegant headcrest that marked her species sitting beside a young girl in a hovering mobility chair. The girl couldn't have been more than 14 in human years. Her own crest was smaller, still developing, and her large amber eyes held a sadness that transcended species. Ilara had seen that look before in her patients back on Earth. The resignation of someone who had been told their condition was permanent. "That's Matriarch Zyard H," a colleague whispered to Ilara, one of the wealthiest beings in the Andromeda trade corridors. Her daughter Sira was in a shuttle accident 3 years ago. Spinal column completely severed. They've consulted with the best physicians across 40 systems. Ilara's jaw tightened. And? Nothing can be done. Tarathi physiology doesn't regenerate neural tissue. Even the Zilari quantum surgeons couldn't help. It's considered an impossible case. The word impossible had always bothered Ilara. It was what doctors had told her father when he'd suffered his stroke. What they told her professor when she proposed her controversial stem cell research. What the entire medical community had said about reversing complete spinal paralysis. She'd proven them wrong every single time. Against her better judgment and the subtle protests of her colleagues, Ilara walked across the hall. She approached the matriarch with the careful respect one gave to both grieving parents and powerful entities who could probably buy entire solar systems. "Matriarch Zyrith, my name is Dr. Ilara Venn from Earth. I couldn't help but notice your daughter. May I ask about her condition?" The matriarch's eyes narrowed slightly, a Tarathi expression of wary curiosity. "You are human, yes? I mean, no offense, doctor, but we have exhausted every possible treatment. The finest minds in the galaxy have examined Sira. I understand," Ilara said gently, kneeling to be at eye level with Sira. "But human medicine takes a different approach. We're stubborn, and we don't give up easily. Would you let me examine her? Just a preliminary assessment. No obligation, no cost." Something in Ilara's voice, perhaps the quiet confidence, perhaps the genuine compassion, made the matriarch pause. She looked at her daughter, who gave a tiny nod, hope flickering in those amber eyes for the first time in years. "Very well, Dr. Venn. But I warn you, we have heard many promises before." The examination took place in Ilara's temporary laboratory on the station. What she discovered both alarmed and excited her. The Tarathi neural structure was different from humans, yes, but the principles were similar enough. The severed spinal column hadn't been treated with regeneration in mind, because Tarathi medicine had no framework for it. They had advanced technology, but they'd never needed to develop the specific techniques humans had pioneered out of desperate necessity. Humans, who started from so far behind, had learned to be creative, to adapt, to find solutions in the spaces between established knowledge. "I can help her," Ilara said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "But it will require a procedure that's never been performed on a Tarathi. It involves stem cell therapy combined with neural bridge implants and intensive physical rehabilitation. It's risky, it's experimental. But I've had an 87% success rate with human patients." Matriarch Zyrith sat in silence for a long moment. Then she spoke, her voice thick with emotion. "Every expert told me to accept reality. You are the first to offer possibility. When can we begin?" The procedure took 6 hours. Ilara's hands never wavered as she worked, her human eyes enhanced by medical scanners, her human intuition guiding her through the alien physiology. She adapted techniques on the fly, making adjustments that no textbook could teach, operating on the edge of known medicine. The rehabilitation took 3 months. Sira was transferred to Earth, to Ilara's private facility, where the young Tarathi became something of a celebrity among the staff. Every day brought new challenges. Tarathi muscle structure responded differently to stimulation. Their neural pathways formed at unexpected rates. Their pain tolerance was both higher and more complex than humans. But Alara never wavered. Neither did Sira. On the 93rd day, matriarch Zyard H arrived for her weekly visit. She entered the rehabilitation center carrying a tray of traditional Tarathi cuisine she'd prepared herself, a gesture of deep gratitude in her culture. She was heading towards Sira's room when she heard something that made her freeze. Footsteps. Uneven. Uncertain but unmistakable. She turned the corner and saw her daughter standing, supported by parallel bars, but standing nonetheless. Sira took one step forward, then another. Her face was set in concentration, determination blazing in her eyes. The plate slipped from Zyrth's hands, shattering on the floor in a cascade of ceramic and food. The sound echoed through the hallway. Double quotes, the word came out as a choked whisper. The young Tarathi looked up and her face broke into the first genuine smile her mother had seen in 3 years. Mother, look. Dr. Ven said I could surprise you today. I'm walking, Mother. I'm actually walking. Alara stood off to the side, arms crossed, a satisfied smile on her face. She'd seen that moment of realization before, the moment when impossible became reality. But it never got old. Matriarch Zyrth rushed forward, tears streaming down her blue cheeks, catching her daughter in an embrace as other staff members gathered, applauding. The matriarch looked over Sira's shoulder at Alara, her eyes conveying what words could not. Later, as news of the miracles spread across the galaxy, other species began arriving at Earth, seeking the human doctors who refused to accept impossible. The galaxy learned what humans had always known, that desperation breeds innovation, that limitation breeds creativity, and that sometimes the newest voices have the most important things to say. Dr. Alara Ven became a legend, but she never forgot that moment. The sound of a plate shattering, and a mother's joy at seeing her daughter walk again. That was why she'd become a doctor. Not for fame or recognition, but for that singular, perfect moment when hope became reality. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not with superior weapons or technology, but with something far more powerful, the stubborn refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible. And the galaxy would never be the same.